is good to be back with my people. Look at this crowd. This is awesome. All right. It is so good to be back here. Closing out the afternoon. I want to start today talking about my mom. That's my mom. This is my mom at her birthday party. So my mother, you should know, is actually a programmer, was a programmer. She recently retired. She started developing programming at the time of punch cards. If you don't know what I'm talking about, Google it. It was a thing. And she was actually a very good programmer. She traveled around the world doing Y2K conversions. If you don't know what that is, you should also Google that. I'm getting my grays covered next week. So when I got my first product management job, I was so excited. I was moving from business development to product. And I called my mom and I said, Mom, I'm so excited. I'm going to be a product manager. I got the product job. She said, oh, honey, that is great. And showing her a little slight hardcore style that never let me get away with anything growing up, she said, what does a product manager do? I said, oh, Mom, it's so cool. We get to decide what goes into the product and what features to build. And she said, well, that's nice. What do the developers do then? And I said, oh, well, they code. Long pause. She says, what a waste of talent. Those are smart people. You can't possibly just pick features all day. So that was my first product job. It's probably not the best product manager available, but I survived. And so it was my second product job when a friend and mentor politely put this on my desk. It was kind of a dog-eared version of Ben Horowitz's Good PM, Bad PM. If you haven't read it, your only homework assignment, I don't care what any other speaker has told you today, your only homework assignment is to go home and read it. For sure it's dated. It's, I think Ben will even tell you it's dated, and like it's on their blog, the Andreessen Horowitz blog, and it's reprinted in his book. And what I love about it, and I've gone on to recommend it to everybody, including you, is that it does distinguish between a good product manager and a bad product manager. Because I feel like at so many of these conferences, we talk about what product managers do, but not the nuance of what's good and what's bad. So what is a good product manager? How have I improved my skills to show my mom that I'm actually a worthwhile employee, and that product management is a function worth having, and that there are good ones and bad ones. So these are kind of your classic job descriptions, right? This is what you all know you're accountable for. You have to know the market, you have to know your competitors, and you have to know your product better than anyone else. You know the goals of the company, you hopefully know the goals of your customers and your users, and you know what metric you're trying to move, some form of revenue conversion, number of customers. You actually own defining the target market and the target user with your team, so I would challenge you on that. I think that one often gets missed. And then, the punchline of what I told my mom, you get to define what needs to be built to achieve those company goals. But there are good ways to do this and there are bad ways to do this. So let's talk about what a good PM looks like. And when I say looks like, I mean when the Martians invade, which will happen, they come to your company and you say, that person's a product manager, that person's a product manager. How can you observe a good one versus a bad one? So a good one is regularly gathering information. To me, this looks like talking to users, talking to customers, you're up out of your seat, you're talking to the leadership team, you're trying to understand the context of the company and the strategy and the objectives and the goals. So you're constantly going out and trying to learn more to make yourself better. You also take full responsibility and have the trust of the team. To me, this looks like if there's a question around product functionality, product performance, why something is the way it is, how it compares to something else, this is your job to know the answer. If you don't know the answer and you're not the go-to person, or people in the organization say, oh, don't ask the product manager, ask the lead developer, ask whoever that person is, that person's the product manager. So this is how you know if you're actually holding your team together and taking full responsibility for your product. You're also responsible for creating a winning plan. I say plan specifically, not roadmaps, because I think roadmaps are stupid, and I'm happy to talk to you about why I think roadmaps are stupid. But plans to me are much more encompassing. I think of the product manager when you walk into an organization and you see the orchestra conductor. And that person knows when to pull on this team, when to pull on this area, when we need a little more energy from this section, when we're all working together, we're communicating out like what's next, what's happening, where are we going. That is what the product manager does, creates the whole plan. You're also anticipating flaws and problems. So you're spending the time to think about how this could go wrong. What does the woodwind section need? When do we need more drums? How do we kind of beat this area longer? How is the crowd reacting, and maybe we can increase energy, and how can I anticipate what's going to happen in this section and plan for it to come? And then finally, I think product management of all functions need to be the most disciplined people out there. People are counting on you to get shit done, so go get shit done. Do what you say you're going to do. There's some expression, I don't know, 90% of life is showing up. I believe product management is a lot about being committed to doing something, having the discipline to tell people what's going on, and holding yourself accountable for it. So what does a bad PM do? This is my favorite part. So bad PMs are that person who's the gopher between sales and marketing and engineering. You're translating. I think that's what my mom thought my first job was. I'm not sure she was wrong. I probably did do a lot of translating. But if you're spending more time talking to sales and marketing than you're spending talking to customers and end users, you're not doing your job well. Don't be a translator. Be the voice of the customer. Know your market. Also, you talk in features and you match them with competitors. I'll remember that first job, I actually did this. I put together my feature list, competitor A, competitors B. We had, I added 2 more features, so we had more. I was super proud of myself. And we proceeded to lose every deal because I had more features than anyone. But I couldn't tell a story about why those features mattered. I didn't understand why the users would want our product. And I didn't really have empathy or an understanding of how the flows would go. And I lost all day long to the under-featured, easier-to-use product. My next favorite one, these are all favorites, but this one's really a favorite. Lamenting the powers that be. If you're putting out fires, if you're complaining about the people that are around you, this is your challenge, is to figure out how to get out ahead of it. You need to spend more time with your leadership team. You need to understand what the strategy is. You need to get better answers for your problems. Don't focus on how to build it, or don't focus on what to build. Focus on how to build. Think about what is the most important thing that needs to come to the market. Let the engineering team figure out how to do this. Don't over-define the features. Think about what problems you need to solve for the users and work with your team to prioritize it. And then don't get stuck in meetings. I sit in these conferences and I hear you guys talk about how you're in too many meetings. I want you all to decline more meetings. If this is not a decision-making meeting, you don't need to be there. Do it on email. Tell people you don't have time because you're out talking to users. So here's your report card. This is what you need to go home and make sure you're responsible for doing. How many users did you talk to this week? How much time did you spend improving your mastery of your product and your competitor's market? How much time did you actually get to spend thinking? Decline those meetings so you can do this. How did you get aligned with the company vision and goals? Were you spending time with the executive team? And then the answer for the next one is 0. How many fires did you have to put out? 0, because you anticipated problems. You didn't have to make an excuse because you had a complete plan. And you did exactly what you said you were going to do because that's your job. So my final closing remark for those who were here last year, this is my latest product release. Baby William. Haas suggested I bring him with me, and I thought, no one wants a 1-year-old wandering around this stage. You can't contain a 1-year-old even. But anyway, Baby William says hi. Thank you all for having me. It's great to see you. Hope you had an awesome day.